If you're still waiting for your narcissistic parent to finally say, I see you, you did well, I'm proud of you, this video is going to be hard to hear. But at the same time, it might be the most freeing thing that you see today. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 things. Why you sought their approval in the first place and why it made sense to do that. What actual approval seeking actually looks like in your day-to-day life, because it's not always obvious. And most importantly, how to actually start breaking the cycle so you can stop waiting for something that was never coming anyway and start giving yourself what you actually need. Here's what most people don't understand about growing up with a narcissistic parent. You didn't just want their approval, you needed it to survive. When you're a child and the person responsible for your sense of safety and love is unpredictable, sometimes they're warm, sometimes they're cold, sometimes they're cruel, your nervous system learns one thing very quickly. Figure out what they need, become what they want, because when they're happy, you are safe. That's a child doing what children do, adapting to their environment to survive. But here's the problem, you're not a child anymore, and that survival pattern has followed you into adulthood. So now you're still monitoring their moods. You're still softening your voice when they seem irritable. You're still making yourself smaller and smaller just to keep the peace. You're still waiting for an approval that was never consistently given, and it never will be. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. A narcissistic parent cannot give you the validation that you are looking for. Not because you haven't earned it, but because they don't have it to give to you. If you're someone who says yes when you mean no, who struggles to speak up because you don't want to disappoint anyone, who overthinks every single interaction and ends up blaming yourself every time something goes wrong, I made something specifically for you, and it's called the People Pleaser's Emotional Reset Guide. It walks you through how to slow down, recognize what you're actually feeling, and come back to yourself instead of abandoning yourself the way that you've been taught to. It's completely free. The link is in the description. Approval seeking from a narcissistic parent doesn't always look obvious. It's not always calling them every day or desperately asking if they're proud of you. Sometimes it looks like this. You achieve something significant, whether it's a promotion, a new home, some kind of milestone, and your first thought is, I can't wait to tell them. Not because you want to celebrate, but because you're hoping that finally this is the thing that gets them to actually see you. Sometimes it looks like editing yourself before every conversation, rehearsing what you're going to say, anticipating their reaction, bracing yourself. Sometimes it looks like staying in the relationship long past the point where it became unhealthy. Because leaving feels like you're admitting to yourself that you'll never get what you came for. And sometimes it looks like people pleasing everyone around you. Your partner, your friends, your colleagues, your boss. Because you learned so early that love was conditional. You had to earn your place in every room that you walked into. The pattern didn't start with your partner, your boss, your colleagues, your friends. It started with your parents. And it's been running in the background ever since. So how do you actually stop seeking approval from someone who was never able to give it? The first step is the hardest one, and it's grieving what you never had. Not the parent that you have, parent that you needed. The one who should have told you that you were enough exactly the way you are. The one who should have celebrated you without any conditions. The one who should have made you feel safe. That parent didn't exist, and part of the healing is allowing yourself to feel the loss of that, without minimizing it, without excusing it, and without waiting for it to finally happen. The second step is learning to recognize the approval-seeking pattern when it's happening in real time. Notice when you're editing yourself before a conversation with them. Notice when you're hoping that a new achievement will finally change things. Notice when your body tenses before you call them. This noticing changes everything, because you can't change something that you cannot see. You can't change a pattern that you cannot see. The third step is to start giving yourself what you were actually seeking from them. This sounds simple, but it's anything but. Because most of us don't know what it feels like to actually validate our own experience. We've spent so long outsourcing that to other people, or partners, or friends, or parents. The fourth step is accepting. Really accepting that the approval that you're looking for is not coming. Not because you're not enough, but because they're just not capable. And every day that you spend waiting for it is a day that you're not giving that to yourself. A day that you're not spending building the life and the relationships that can actually give you what you need. If you've ever been in a conversation and somebody says something and it just hits you and you go completely blank, you can't think, you can't speak, you can't defend yourself, that's the freeze response. And it's one of the most painful parts of recovering from this kind of upbringing. I created the Freeze Recovery Response Kit specifically for moments like this. It gives you word-for-word scripts for when your mind goes blank, with family, in relationships, and even at work. So you never have to walk away from that conversation wishing that you had said something again. Link is in the description. I want to be honest with you about something. Stopping the approval-seeking cycle with your parent isn't a one-time decision. It's an ongoing process. It's something that you have to work at every single day. There will be days when you achieve something and that old familiar hope creeps back in, where you're hoping that finally, yes, this will make them see you. And that's okay. Having that hope makes complete sense. It's the echo of the child that just wanted more than anything to be loved by their parent. But this time, you get to choose what to do with it now. You can notice it, name the feeling, and redirect it. You can redirect it to yourself, to the safe people in your life, to the version of you that is slowly learning. The version of you that's learning slowly but imperfectly to be your own source of validation. That is the work. The work is slow, but it is absolutely worth it. If this video resonated with you, the next one you should watch is how growing up with a narcissistic parent affects your romantic relationships. Because approval seeking doesn't just stay in your family. It follows you into every relationship that you have. Subscribe if you're on this healing journey and you want practical tools that you can implement right away. Comment below, are you still in the approval-seeking cycle or have you started to break free? I read every single comment and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.